I'm a teacher and currently on my spring break, which is holy territory for my mental health. My wife asked if we could take her parents, perhaps the most joyless, rude, judgmental, and helpless people I've met, with us to New Orleans. Helpless is a big one. They are clueless on how to do anything that isn't in their small Midwestern town. I knew from the get-go the trip was a bad idea, but I went along with it because I love my wife dearly and will do anything for her. Loving your spouse, also a novel concept for boomers. We're currently on day 3, and it has been utter hell. For them, no restaurant is good enough, in one of the best food cities in the world. No less. No line is short enough, no tour is good enough, and my personal favorite, there's too much partying down here. Do they know where we even are? The in-laws are constantly asking for history about New Orleans, and the music is one area I know a lot about. A few minutes ago, while waiting for a cemetery tour, I showed my father-in-law a very cool/small exhibit on a great jazz piano player, James Booker. I explained James Booker is a famous jazz artist, was openly gay, black, and had one eye. Pretty amazing dude, honestly, a lot of overcome adversity. My father-in-law says, with all seriousness, he probably was a pedophile. In front of a bunch of kids standing nearby, by the way, and walks away. Just so mean-spirited and totally embarrassing to be around. I'm done, man. Sorry for the rant. I'm stress-shitting in the museum with a pounding headache, hoping the rest of the day is better. Fuck. Comment 1. Drop them off at World War II Museum in the morning. Enjoy your day, circle back around in like 7 hours to get them. They can boom out on all the other boomers, and you can live your best life. Comment 2. Don't even bother circling back for them. Comment 3. Ruining spring break is bad enough. But ruining a trip to New Orleans is on an entirely different level. It's a city all about having a good time. There's food, music, history, nature, art, and some of the best hospitality a city could have. You have to actively work to be unhappy there. You or your wife need to tell them to suck it up and at least pretend to enjoy their time or leave them behind in the hotel while you go out. Comment 4. This experience will be your leverage in any future discussions about including the in-laws. Bank it and profit. Comment 5. I'm literally a tour guide in New Orleans, and honestly, we get a lot of these types. If they decide to take a tour with me, the more they complain, the harder I lean into my Black and Gay History of New Orleans tour. Update. Hi all. Earlier today, I made a stressy/bitchy post about my father-in-law, who sucks, from a toilet at the St. Louis Cemetery 1 Museum in New Orleans. I hit post and went on with my day, went fine, thanks, and came back to absolute chaos and mostly camaraderie. My wife and I had a wonderful evening. Leaving the in-laws behind at the hotel, we went to Port of Call for some of the best burgers we've ever had and spent time laughing at your comments. Y'all truly made the day better. So thanks. I wanted to also clear some things up since folks were so interested. Oh, and some additional pain if anyone wants to white-knuckle their way through more anecdotes. First, many of you believe my wife is to blame for this trip, or that she owes me one, or that she forced this trip on me. Nah, she wanted to do something nice for her parents, and I will always fully support her kind heart. That said, we both agree this is the last trip with them. She has been just as stressed, if not more. She even broke out in hives last night. She's developed an allergy to her parents, clearly. Months before the trip, my wife told her parents that we would be happy to drive. We're from the Midwest. But that we like to have fun on our road trips. This means music, fun detours, and just not plowing through boring highway miles, when possible. They said, "No problem, we're easy." Indeed, they were not. They complained, and quite a bit, about pretty much everything. Ever been told to turn down the already low volume music in your own car? I have. Like many were suggesting, we were selling the World War II Museum hard. But they wouldn't take the boomer bait. But get this, they said no because they would get lost on the way back to the hotel. When we offered to come back and get them, they still said no. It was like they were being stubborn for the sake of spite. So weird. I've included a fun screenshot/text my wife sent her friend about the ordeal. My in-laws love doing this thing where they kind of argue with each other like it's a little show for everyone around them. Anyone else know that strange little song and dance? It's like watching an even shittier Jeff Dunham bit in real time, if that's even possible. After my earlier post, we all went to Oak Alley Plantation for a tour. I'm sure you can see where this is going. We had to have a strong talk on the walk up to the ticket gate about not making racist and offensive jokes, especially in historically sensitive spaces. Yes, this talk did, in fact, come after the father-in-law called slave quarters slave shacks. How can it not be mortifying for him for people half his age to tell him to stop acting like a child? My wife told both her parents multiple times they were being rude and/or inappropriate. Like bluntly. At one point, she literally said, "I need an hour away from you guys," after trying to ditch them in more subtle ways. Coping. My wife and I aren't big drinkers, but we've consumed more weed in the last 48 hours than we do in a week. This is such a minor detail, but it gave me a chuckle. During one tour, my father-in-law had to put on a wristband, and he couldn't figure it out. I watched him struggle and make little grunt noises until I offered to help, which he accepted, but pretended he didn't need. Lastly, my wife wants everyone to know my parents suck just as bad, they very much do, and that we communicate very clearly to each other about our experiences and feelings. We do our best to keep an eye on each other and our comfort. Don't worry, we're super solid. Spring break ruined by joyless in-laws in New Orleans. Teacher's vacation nightmare with judgmental in-laws. Escape attempt from hellish holiday with wife's parents unveiled.